Listen properly.
I opened my mouth way too late, and if I did it earlier, I think things might have been completely different.
Many people, well, many girls or guys go through the same upbringing. Has committing suicide ever come across your mind?
Whew.
What advice could you give to children that are going through the same experience as what you did? Many people, well, many girls or guys go through the same upbringing. Has committing suicide ever come across your mind?
Whew. I've been there more than once. Um, I was in high school still, and I was actually trying to drink a handful of bloeddrukpilletjies, blood pressure pills, and after that I only realized it wasn't blood pressure pills, it actually was iron pills. So that was a total fail. But it was for good, and afterwards it did pop up a few times again. I wanted to end it all because for me it wasn't worth it anymore. I didn't see the reason in fighting because no matter what I do, nothing would change for good. No matter who I tried to impress, what I did to try to win over everyone's affection, it never worked. So I just wanted to end it because I felt like I was a burden in this life.
Let's say you succeeded in committing suicide. Who do you think, whose responsibility would it have been on your death?
I wouldn't say it would be for anyone. I would say it would be my own stupidity because there's always a way out. Sometimes you just need to sit back and actually realize that what you're going through is something that can only be changed if you do something about it.
Listen properly.
Because if you sit back and just say, I'm just going to get up, get through this day, get up, get through this day, you're not actually thinking about what you can do to improve your circumstances, what's the problem, solving the problem, then you're not going to get anywhere.
You went to many teachers as well as police people. Why do you think it's not their responsibility because you did your piece and yet they didn't stand up for you? Why do you say it was your fault and not someone else's?
Because at the end of the day, there's always a way, in South Africa, there's always a way to cover your tracks. So every time, the one or two times that people actually came to see what's going on, it would also always be the parent's story that would be believed, because the child's making up the stories for attention, or it's just a phase she's going through, but no one ever cared to look at the marks, to actually, they know about the voice notes, they've seen it in person. They were teasing me about it on school, but yet the teachers, they were listening to what the mother said, and it was always, oh, but look at what the mother's going through, and look what the family is going through, but they never thought, what can we actually do to help? How can we solve the problem for them?
Okay. Let me ask you this. How do you think, going through what you had gone through, what do you think would have solved the problem for you?
To be honest, I think if alcohol could just disappear from earth, that would have changed a lot. Because alcohol was the biggest problem in my life growing up. That's what caused us to lose everything, and from all the fights and the anger and all those things.
Okay, so you would say that the reason for all the fighting is caused by the alcohol and it was actually never like a personality issue.
Yes, my stepdad, he has actually, if you know him while he's not drunk, he actually has the most wonderful personality. Sometimes he still can get very mad, but everyone has that in them. You always get one day where you can actually flip out. But for animals, the love he gives for animals, and any animal would go to him, any child would go to him. But when he drinks, he's a different person. And after when I fell pregnant, that's when he actually, his drinking came down to a minimum.
Wow.
When he actually became a grandfather, that's when he changed.
How regularly would fighting be?
When I was younger in primary school, as my psychologist says, it's not, I can't remember as much because I would remember glimpses and glimpses, but I would remember how the fight would start, but I can't remember the end because it's the brain's way of protecting you against trauma from when you were younger. I can remember a very few fights. My mother's ankle was the one I'd broken and she had to walk to the hospital with me as he was kicking her and all those kind of things. Moving on, and through high school, it was constant. We're talking about maybe 2 to 3 times a week, maybe more, sometimes the whole week. And every December the 31st, it would be a problem because on December 31st, his mother passed away. So it was very hard way for him to progress the death and everything. So every New Year's he would get extremely drunk and it would be a big fight, and it happened constantly.
What do you think made him change from reduce the amount of drinking because he became a grandfather?
I think it's because he knew that if I walk out of that house and I said he won't have a right to see my child because he's my stepdad, he's nothing from me. So I could easily say, okay, sorry, you're not a grandfather to my child because you're biologically nothing related to me. I don't want you in my life. I could have made that decision easily and removed from him with an restraining order and everything. But after the way he changed when my son was born, I decided to accept him as a grandfather for my son because since the day he was born, he was there in the hospital with me every day until my son was born, and he helped me a lot actually.
Wow.
Yeah, he changed completely when my son was born. When he first found out it was a big fight, and even the day where I told them, okay, listen, I'm actually moving out. There was a big fight, the police got involved because they didn't want to give us our stuff to let us go because of the fact that he thought he was going to lose me forever. Because I always, when I was younger and fighting, I would always tell him, you know what, the day I get out, you won't see me ever again. So I think he had that fear of me pushing him away. And just after when he finally realized I'm finally accepting him as a father, he changed completely.
What advice could you give to children that are going through the same experience as what you did?
I would say whatever you do, don't keep quiet. Keep talking about it until you find someone that's actually going to sit there and listen. Because at the end of the day, if you keep quiet, no one's going to know what you go through. And no one's going to be able to help. And even if you feel that you have been abandoned and that you don't have a voice, don't give up. Don't do the same thing that I did and move back and just deal with it. Just try to find someone that will be there for you when you need them to be. Try to escape to a safe place. Speak to your mother if it's the same situation like I'm going through. Try to speak to someone and tell them you have another relative like a granny or grandfather or uncle or auntie you rather want to live with because you want to further your education and you want to grow up in a better environment. Speak your mind. Be honest about your feelings. Because if you don't speak about it, people won't know exactly how you feel, so they won't understand the hurts and the trauma they are actually busy causing. I opened my mouth way too late, and if I did it earlier, I think things might have been completely different.
You didn't have much friends in high school and primary. I would assume that's from moving around a lot.
Yes, and also no, because most of the people, as soon as they found out who my family was, they would just not talk to me at all because I know there's a lot of drama and hurt that's going on.
Do you think that going back in time, having a friend that would have been there and helped you would have helped?
Yes, I had a friend growing up. Her name is Robin. She also went through a few things growing up. She understood what I was going up, so she always was there to listen when I needed to cry, or she was always there when I needed her to be. And she's still there, and it's been 15 years now already. She's been there carrying me through everything. It definitely helps, but I would definitely suggest try to speak to people that you know that would be able to help you out of your situation as fast as possible.
Would you, you say trying to get out of your situation as fast as possible, who do you think would be the best person to go to speak? What I'm asking here is, would you go to a person that is an extrovert or an introvert?
I would say an extrovert.
Going through the experience, do you feel embarrassed about it or not?
I did for many years. I didn't want to show my face in public. I didn't want people to know who I was. I wanted to be out of Richard's Bay so bad. We moved out to Matuba. I didn't want anyone to know where I disappeared to. I actually wanted to change my name and my surname, everything, and just disappear completely off of the map. But eventually, when I moved to the farm and I was there, I got a lot of time to actually just to sit and think with myself and reflect on what happened in my life, and I got a time to just learn who I am. And today I'm not embarrassed at all, because everything happened for a reason. It changed for good. There was a reason my dad had to leave, and he changed for a better man. My mother changed completely. We have a different relationship towards than what we had. It's busy being restored to what it was when I was younger, and it made me a stronger person. So at the end of the day, I didn't go through those things, I never would have known the street smarts, as my husband would call it, today.
You mentioned that you ran away from home with your mom, sometimes without your mom. Do you think that helped a lot trying to escape? And if what perhaps other ways of escaping reality could have helped you?
Basically, when we went out, it was for our own safety, and it helped a lot, because if you don't get away from that where you are being physically abused, it can get very bad, and things can be broken, and a lot of trauma can be caused because of things that have been said. So it's much better to get away from that circumstance until everyone has calmed down, and then try to resolve it later when everyone is cooled down. But as soon as you see someone's actually starting to get angry again, just find a safe place, go sit on your own, blast your music, dance, paint, just find something to keep yourself busy with. That's the one thing I would highly recommend for people to do.
Listen properly.
But running away from our problems like I did to Newcastle, that didn't help. That actually just made my problems worse. So I would say don't try to run from it, but try to deal with it. Try to work through it. Don't run from it and then just leave it. Don't work through it. Run from it, but work through it. Make sure you get through it, because at the end of the day, if you don't work through it, it's going to cause a lot of trauma. Mostly about it, it's all the trauma that goes with it, because there was a lot of verbal abuse, so you get abused verbally, and because having someone to talk to, is much more important than someone helping you in your circumstances. Sorry,